On this episode of Lori's Maine Inspirations, we're eventually going to Rangeley, but first I want to show you what our mornings are like in Maine. A lot of Maine is camp life, and we have beautiful mornings, so a little video of that first before we head off on our trip. And we're going to Rangeley. This is the trip to Rangeley, and we're going to start out, we're going up Route 4 out of Farmington, and along the way we're going to stop first in Madrid to see just the scenery of the Sandy River that runs along the highway. Then as we move on up the road, we're going to stop at Smalls Falls, rest area with just this very, well, there it is, beautiful waterfall. From there, we're going to have a little bit of nonsense where the Appalachian Trail crosses the road. Very little nonsense, very stupid nonsense. But then we're going to get up to the main event, which is the Cascade Stream Gorge. This was a beautiful hike. We got out and really enjoyed it. Finally, we're going to end up at the Whip Willow Farm overlook with a beautiful vista of Rangeley Lake. But it all starts at our lake with our loons. For years, my family's been coming to Maine, and my wife loves the place, and it's inspired a lot of her alcohol inks art. And now that she's retired and doing her art full time, we're looking for more inspirations, and so we're creating this series to share that search and just to share the things we love about Maine while we go look for more things to love. You have a martini.
I do.
Wait a minute, I need to get a beer.
Okie dokie.
Okay, much better, much better.
Okay.
There we go. All right. Welcome to our episode, Going to Rangeley. This is just going to Rangeley. We have footage from around Rangeley as well. So we have a couple episodes. We filmed this back in July, and it was hard to get a day.
Oh, when it was sunny out there.
Or where we were sure it would be sunny. I'm sure they had plenty of sunny days. We just didn't know. So we also have the mornings in Maine.
I like that. I'm sleeping during his mornings, but
My mornings last for a good 5-6 hours. And so I shared that, and I posted that as a video before, and 72 people saw it. So I included it here because my friend Pete said, hey, you should show more of what it's like just day to day. And so we have that along with us going to Rangeley, and it's a lot of water going over rocks, I have to admit, but it is really, really quite pretty, I think.
oh, very peaceful. Yeah.
We hope you enjoy it. In June, it's cool enough to start the day with a good fire. Mornings in Maine begin very early. Lizzie and I will get up between 4 and 5. Lizzie likes to stretch out and lie down and just look at the world and listen to all the morning sounds. Who can blame her? Back in the woods, it's still dark. Here's my office where I get my work done every morning. And it's so much nicer to do work with a good view. After a while, the sun comes up and drenches the other shore. Yep, that's a rooster. The lake catches shimmering reflections of all the trees along shore. Eventually, I coaxed Lizzie inside to sit by the fire. Before long, Quill joins us. Once I get my work done, the three of us sit by the fire and wait for Mama to get up. The drive to Rangeley takes us up Route 4, at least that's the way we went. And Route 4 runs along Sandy River, and I don't know how sandy it is, but it's a very pretty river, and so you periodically get chances to get on a bridge or get an overlook and just see the clear running water. And it's a good preview because there's lots of water running over rocks today. You wouldn't think that a rest area would be on the must-see list for a region, but this one actually is. And okay, obviously, if you need a rest area, there's no better site than this. Well, that may not be the greatest site because those are not flush toilets. But a rest area is always welcome, especially for the dogs. And this is an hour from our house, so yeah, it was great. But it's more than that. We've got the Sandy River running there, and you go to the end of the area, there are these wooden stairs that lead down to the bridge, and we get Smalls Falls. This is just very obviously a beautiful sight with the sun coming down here. Just really, really worth stopping for. On the other side of the bridge, there's these little hiking trails, so if you really want to give the dogs a workout, you can go there. And you can get a couple other views of the river. Unfortunately, there were a lot of dogs around, so we got back on the road. Rangeley is known for moose, and we were on the lookout. Saw a lot of signs, but I don't know. We did see the Appalachian Trail, and so Lori wasn't into it. The dogs were being obstreperous. And so I said, well, I'm going to get out here and take a look just real quick, see, and I don't know, maybe a little bit of a letdown, but it is the Appalachian Trail. Appalachian Trail. I can now say I've hiked it. Okay, 20, 30 yards, but I hiked it. That's something. Yeah, I mean, this is as far as I got. That's the parking lot right there. But it's the Appalachian Trail, come on! Another must-see site, at least according to the list you get online, is Cascade Stream Gorge, and it's just before you get into Rangeley, off the side of the road, and, you know, we almost didn't make it up into the parking lot, but it was worth it. I don't want to speak ill of anything here, but we barely made it up this road into the parking area, so, okay, once more, into the woods. I hope this goes better than our last hike, especially since I've got Lori with us now. Ooh. Such a trail. Up we go. Come on, around. Lizzie, please. Please, girl. And of course, seriously, this is the trail. After a while, the trail opened up. We have this stunning spot, and then we got across the open area, and we started getting to the gorge. And you could hear the water. We got down off the side and found the stream. The running water was quite mesmerizing, and it really makes its own soundtrack, don't you think? I had to be careful not to get too mesmerized and lose track of where Lori and the dogs were, but we got back on the trail and we headed up to see the other falls on the stream. Again, a great trail. The next falls was really interesting. It fed into a nice long gorge and we spent a lot of time here. I found this curving rock really interesting and cool. After filming this falls for a really long time, I had to get back and say where everyone was and what we were going to do next. So, did you like the waterfall, Lizzie? You're being good now. Also being good. I understand that there are more falls upstream, but we were on a schedule and it was a little bit rough with other dogs around, so we headed back downstream. Lizzie quickly sniffed out some interesting holes worn into the rocks. Getting down to the floor of the gorge, I came on this little swirling pool, and I spent a lot of time taking pictures of those eddies, and Lori and the dogs had to be very patient. It was cool to look up and see the forest towering over the edges of the gorge. Always thinking with his stomach. Lizzie liked the water, but Quill seemed a little freaked out, like he couldn't tell where the top of the water was. Going downstream, this was about as far as we could go. It got rough, but man, it was beautiful. At about this point, I realized I had to figure out how to get out of here. I want to come out this way. Yep, this is the better way out of here. Yep. Maybe this isn't the better way out of here. We'll make do. Obviously, we made it out in the end, and though the trail was rough, the scenery was definitely worth it. The last stop on our trip to Rangeley was the Whip Willow Farm Scenic Overlook. Right before you get into town, gives you a great view of Rangeley Lake. While filming at the Maine house in Hollowell, we had the good fortune to meet someone who worked at DOT and designed and built these overlooks. And he really turned us on to Rangeley. And I got to say, his work is definitely worth it because they have some great overlooks with great vistas around. And we'll be seeing a lot more of that in our next episode. Speaking of our next episode, which was really just the rest of our day, we first go to Quill Hill, which is north of Rangeley, and it has this beautiful 360-degree panorama. There we're looking from Saddleback around towards Rangeley Lake. Then we're going to go across the top of Rangeley to Aquasic and get lunch. And, well, being us, we find a tap house, and so we get some beer there. And the dogs, they actually were really well behaved. After that, we drop by the Outdoor Heritage Museum, and we kind of have to stay outside because of the dogs, but they have some really interesting things to look at. We take a quick peek at that before heading down Route 17 for a couple more vistas, particularly Height of Land. We really have some beautiful scenery from these overlooks. Then, continuing down Route 17 to the village of Byron, there's Coos Canyon. And here we have some just beautiful sights. Sure, it's more water going over rocks, but the rocks here are really interesting. And by the way, there is gold in that stream as well. Well, that was our episode. It was a long time coming.
It was.
And we had to wait for the day where we knew it'd be sunny. And so we waited weeks. I go to Rangeley. And then it was a long day.
It was a very long day, but it was a fun day.
It was very fun. Lots of water going over rocks, I do have to say. But so we had a great time. And we're going back to Maine. That's the big thing, is we're home now. This is our living room in North Carolina, and we are going to go back and have September in Maine.
Yes, for the first time.
For the first time. And so we are really looking forward to that. Looking forward to finding artists and maybe even go back to Rangeley a little bit. I don't know. We'll have to see. But
we're going to see Michael Paul again, by the way.
We are definitely, and we're definitely, I'm sure there will be craft martinis in abundance from the Maine house. So we are really looking forward to it, and we are looking forward to sharing it with you. So I guess stay tuned. We're getting it. This is like after the hiatus of a TV show, right? You get the second part of the season. So, well,
yeah.
Thank you for joining us. And like I say, see what we come up with this September.